And you want me to ask you some tricky questions here. We were chatting and you're throwing out some big terms and terminology and you're like, just ask me about it, Rachel.
And by the way, just to preface this, people, let's keep in mind that when I asked Rachel to do the show with me, she was like, I know nothing about financial planning.
Listen,
why would you have me do this?
I'm really good. We can chat and I can spend money.
Right. Well,
but at the end of the day, that's not really what I should be doing. I should be saving it for 3 children who want to go on to school and college and all of that stuff.
They can take care of themselves. They'll be fine. Don't worry about them. You keep shopping.
So I'm going to ask you a couple things that have popped out with me. You mentioned these things, and I go, I don't know what you're talking about, Ben. So, what is disinversion of the yield curve? You see it, you hear it. What is it?
All right. So first of all,
for someone like me.
Okay, so this is why Rachel's on it, because if I can't explain it and Rachel doesn't get it, then I've got nothing. So first, an inverted yield curve, which is one of those things that I hear a lot right now, is basically when you have long-term rates getting less than short-term rates. So like a CD that would be for 6 months is paying a higher rate than a CD for 5 years. Okay. Right? And normally it's the opposite. Normally, the longer you put the money there, the more income they'll give you. That's part of the deal. So inverted means that it's the opposite. And historically speaking, for a number of times, I think like 8 out of 9 times, or every time it's been a predictor of a recession, except for 1966 or some funky number like that, it has predicted a recession, except for what's happened since 2022, when we've had that inverted yield curve, when we've had that time when longer-term interest rates are getting less than short-term interest rates. So, what is a disinversion? Right, because I love this term. So this question came up, by the way, because I saw an article from a company that rhymes with Bloomberg saying, hey, this could actually be the thing that causes the recession, this inversion. And all that really big syllabled word means is that things are getting back to normal. Okay. So now, it's great. Yeah, but they're saying, but so what's wrong? What's wrong with that? Well, that's the frustration for me, is that I feel like there's a lot of things where historically people are trying to scare you. Now, keep in mind, I aside from talking and joking, I do a little bit of research here, and what we found. And it was actually on a separate article by Bloomberg, and then investing.com had an article that talked about when you see a disinversion of the yield curve, you actually see returns on the S&P 500 average like just below 10%, like 9.8, in that ballpark. Don't quote me exactly. I don't know the number off the top of my head. But if on average they tend to go up after this disinversion, then that seems like a positive thing for the average investor. And to try to get people to sell when they should have a historically higher rate doesn't make sense. Now, that being said, I'm not saying the market's going to go up by 10%. I have no idea, right? It could go down by 30 tomorrow. Who knows? But it's important that the important thing is to have a plan, period. That's the frustration for me, is that I don't want people to get scared and sell. I don't want to get people to get overexcited and buy, right? 3, 4, 5 months ago, earlier in the year, you saw fear levels at their lowest, like historically, since 2008 and 2007, which is crazy. And then the market had a nice, funky sell-off, right? So you see those things. Again, people aren't worried, they buy, people get scared, they sell. That's not how you want to react when you're doing financial planning. You want to have a plan for financial planning. That's the whole point of this. Yeah. And you have to be that level-headed, that even-keeled person to talk somebody off the ledge when they are in that panic mode and they see certain things. But with your, little bit of research that you're doing, you study these curves and we kind of where things are going. Yeah, well, I mean, to a point. Like I can never tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. But the important thing for me isn't to say, hey, we've done research and here's what's going to happen tomorrow. It doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. You're going to be fine anyway. We're going to make sure that wherever the market goes, it's not going to affect the way that you live your life in retirement, so that you can still do all the things that you like to do, even if the market goes down by 30%, you're not going to be hurt by that. But what this all comes back to is having that plan. Right. And having that plan and knowing the steps that you need to take. And so many people are kind of maybe behind in getting that plan set up. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll wait. I don't have a lot of money. I don't need to worry about this, X, Y, and Z. I feel like you're one mistake or bad thing happening from, one medical emergency or one, job loss from being in a tough spot. And you need to make sure that you have that plan set up so that you don't find yourself in a
tough spot.
There are tons of stories that we have with clients, with people who called us after something happened. Because it's always, when the market goes down, that's when people say, oh, I shouldn't do this on my own. When the market's going up like crazy and they're seeing 13, 15, 16% returns on their 401k historically, they're like, oh, this is great. I'll just do this forever. No, you won't. Why? Because as you're in that stage, when you see these returns on your 401k, you're not worried about it because you're not reliant on the money. As you get closer and closer to retirement, into your mid-50s, into your late 50s, into your early 60s, when this money becomes more and more important, that's when the anxiety starts to come more and more. And our goal is to take that off the table. We don't want you to be stressed about managing your portfolio. We don't want you to have, my uncle used to have a beeper and a cell phone, and every time the market sneezed, he would change it, and it would be, Sunday morning, and he's checking, and he still has his Apple IIe and his DOS computer and whatever the latest thing. And to me, it was like, I don't want to live like that. And I don't want my clients to live like that. And so when we've had periods where, we've had COVID and the market drops by 33%, or we have 2022 and the NASDAQ falls by over 33% for the year, over 30% for the year, we don't have to worry. We can still have peace of mind that we're going to be okay, that our clients are going to be okay. We don't have to worry about it. And so for us, the important thing is having a plan. And, whether that's figuring out when you take Social Security, or how to minimize taxes in retirement, or how to generate a paycheck for yourself from retirement, from all that money that you saved your entire life. That's where we're here to help you out. And then, of course, let's not forget, where does all this money go when you're not here? Right? We need to have income plan, a tax plan, an estate plan, an investment plan. Make sure you know what's going on for risk. We're happy to help you do that. That's what we do in the complimentary consultation. And we have offices in West Hartford, and Middletown, and Middlebury, and Mystic. I got them all.
You got them. You didn't
But
forget
we
one.
can't do any of that unless you actually pick up the phone and give us a call. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to schedule a 15-minute phone call, go ahead and click the link in the description below, and we look forward to talking to you soon.